Hi there, Aaron here with Ghost Rapid Gaming and Guns, and today I have a thoughts on video. Recently, I went to a gun shop, Bullseye Shooting Supplies in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, by the way, and I purchased this. This is a U.S. Revolver Co. top break in .32 Smith & Wesson, also known as .32 Smith & Wesson Short. And one of the gentlemen who works at the store asked me what my opinion was, or what my thoughts might be, on top break revolvers. And I didn't really have a whole lot of time to go in depth with that question with him, but he is aware of this YouTube channel and said, hey, maybe you can make a video on it. I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear your thoughts on those. And I thought, you know what? He's right. So I have a couple of different examples of top break revolvers, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and impressions on these guys. These are both U.S. Revolver Co. produced firearms. This one is in .38 Smith & Wesson, and as I said before, this is in .32 Smith & Wesson Short. And these were produced, basically U.S. Revolver Co. was a subsidiary of Iver Johnson. So everything that applies to these particular top break revolvers should apply to the Iver Johnsons as well, and several other companies that have produced top break revolvers. Now, what are my thoughts on these? Well, as they stand, they're not a terrible investment. And the reason why I say that is I bought this one for just over $100, and I purchased this one for $30. That's pretty cheap for a firearm. Now, there has been some questionable quality on a lot of these firearms throughout the years, so I think that you might want to do a little bit of research if you see one in a shop for dirt cheap and decide you want to buy one. You also have to worry about cartridge availability, just because some of these cartridges are really hard to find. .32 Smith & Wesson Short is nearly impossible to find, and you might even have to have it hand loaded. So even though I got the gun for $30, it might not be worth your initial investment to get one. .38 Smith & Wesson, on the other hand, also known as .32 Colt New Police, is fairly available. You can typically find it in most gun shops, although it is a little pricey. It's not terribly difficult to hand load either, so if you're a reloader and you see one of these and you say, you know what, that's kind of neat, I'll spend the $100 on it and just load my own ammo, you can easily do that. But really, I'd like to talk about the design. So this one has a 3-inch barrel, a 5-shot cylinder, a front blade sight, and a rear integrated sight, which is into the cylinder release. Now, or I should say the top latch. Now, as you open these guns, they have an auto ejector, which you should be able to see right about there. And what that does is automatically ejects the empty brass once you're finished firing. Or if you just want to unload the gun, you can dump out the live rounds. And if you do it forcibly, like so, it throws them quite a distance. It is a very positive extraction system. Now, a lot of these guns are single action, double action revolvers, so you do have the double action trigger pull, as you do here. This is a double action only model, actually both of these are. Just like that, or you can cock the hammer and shoot. Some come with adjustable sights, some come with bigger grips, but it's basically all the same format. They function nearly identically. You have the double action, single action trigger, a free spinning cylinder, and an auto ejector. Now, I actually like these guns quite a bit. They're relatively small, they're relatively compact, they're relatively soft shooting. They're actually fairly accurate. .38 Smith & Wesson is a little anemic, but it's about right at the same power level of .380 ACP, so bleeding edge of adequacy, they're right at the bleeding edge of adequacy for self-defense. 5 shots of .38 Smith & Wesson is definitely better than a sharp stick, right? And again, being able to go out and get 100 rounds of ammunition and the gun for $200 is pretty appealing. Some of these guns, again, don't have the highest quality, and there's a lot of misinformation out there on them. I have seen a lot of people say, well, you can shoot .32 ACP out of a .32 Smith & Wesson short gun. No, you can't, for a couple of different reasons. One, it's a semi-rimmed round, not a fully rimmed round. So what will happen is when you actually go to eject it, the casings will get caught up in the cylinder. And 32 ACP has a much higher pressure level than 32 Smith & Wesson short. So if you fire 32 ACP in one of these 32 caliber revolvers, you run the risk of that gun exploding in your hand. So you cannot do that. And there's a couple other myths about them just being out there. But I think that top brakes are a really cool design. Not necessarily a terrible investment if you know what you're doing, but I like the design quite a bit. I like the fact that it has the auto ejector on it. I like how it is very quick to empty and load if need be. You can get 38 Smith & Wesson rounds and load them into a 5-shot, like a Smith & Wesson Model 36 speed loader. And you can use that on this gun, and it works quite well. I kind of wish somebody would come out with a modern interpretation of this, because I think this system is really good, especially because with a swing out cylinder, you have to push a button anyways, and you're generally going to push the cylinder out to the left with these two fingers, your middle finger and your ring finger, and then you're going to have to upend the gun, hit your ejector rod, or even slap your ejector rod, and then load your rounds in with a speed loader anyways, so you're using both hands anyways. And it's going to be significantly faster if you're going to hit a latch and do all this stuff. It's significantly faster just to do that. The gun's open, the cases have ejected, and you can see what you're doing very easily. And then drop a speed loader, close it up, and you're good to go. The other thing is with a free spinning cylinder, you don't have to close it, and some people like to close their swing out cylinder revolvers, close them and index it to the first cylinder and then fire from there. With these, you don't need to do that. You can simply open it, load your rounds in, close it, and pull the trigger. So they're very quick to load, unload, and reload. So I really like that system quite a bit. And with a modern metallurgy and machining we have, I think you could make a top brake revolver that is very, very successful. You just have to find a company that's willing to do it. A company that's willing to take that risk, like Keltec or Taurus, for example, might be willing to venture into it. There have been modern interpretations of these revolvers. I believe the Russian military was looking at the MP412, which was a top brake 6-shot 357 Magnum. They did some testing on it, and the concept never really took off. The idea was to have a more powerful handgun, more powerful than a 9mm, but be able to load and unload and reload very quickly. So they liked the top brake design. The 357 Magnum cartridge was too strong for the action, so they said, well, what's the point? If we go with 38 Special, we might as well be using 9mm in an autoloader. There's no point, right? So they kind of ceased all research into that. However, on the civilian side, it would make a lot of sense. First of all, 38 Special is more than adequate for self-defense. You also have the use of moon clips, and there's a lot of revolvers out there now that you're seeing in 45 ACP, 40 Smith & Wesson, 9mm, even 380. And with the 30 Super Carry cartridge coming out from Federal, that could be an option too. You could do a 5 or 6 shot affair in those cartridges in a top brake revolver using moon clips, and you would have a very fast into action revolver that is a top brake, because you can eject the entire moon clip assembly and all your empty cases, drop another one in and close it, and have a gun that's very quick back into action. And with a modern metallurgy and machining, I think that the materials that you would use would very easily be able to handle the pressures of 9mm, of 380, of 40, of, maybe not of 40, but of 45, of 30 Super Carry. All of these semi-auto cartridges, you could very easily get a top brake to handle those pressure levels. And it has been done. There are top brake revolvers that are out there in 45 Long Colt, which is right, it's less powerful than 45 ACP's pressure levels. But with modern metallurgy, I think you could do it. There's Schofield revolvers that are out there in 38 Special that handle 38 Special or 38 Special plus P that are quite stout, robust revolvers. And if they can handle that, I would be willing to say that they could probably handle 9mm. They could definitely handle 380. They could probably handle 30 super carry. So I think that a modern interpretation of the top brake design is overdue, and I would definitely love to see a company come out with one, because I think that as far as modern revolvers go, this could be a real fresh take on things that people haven't seen in quite a long time. You could have them in a variety of finishes. You could use moon clips, half moon clips. You could definitely have better sights. You could have longer or shorter barrels, longer or shorter grips, bigger grips, small trigger guards, large trigger guards. There's a lot of variations that you see in typical revolvers nowadays that you could also roll in to this design, and I think people would be quite happy to see it, especially if you could do it for the same price as, say, like a Smith & Wesson 442, or something in the same price range as that Chief Special bodyguard size revolver, right? I think if you had 5 or 6 shots, say 5 shots of 9mm, 380, 45, maybe 40, and if you could do it in like a 6-shot model in, say, 30 super carry, I think there's a lot of potential there. I think there really is a lot of potential there. And then even more so for competition guns, maybe an 8-shot model in 30 super carry or 9mm with the top brake action. I think you could tap into the competition field with that too. In use with, again, with those moon clips would really speed things up, and I think a lot of revolver enthusiasts would be all over it. So yeah, those are generally my thoughts on the top brake revolvers. If you like seeing videos like this, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment, and if you want to support a little more, go ahead, follow the link in the description to Patreon or my GoFundMe, and you can donate from there. This has been Aaron with Ghost Raptor Gaming and Guns. Have a nice day.